A few weeks ago, we discussed a stretchy cast-on that is perfect for 1x1 ribbing. It is known as the Italian cast-on or long-tail tubular cast-on. And it is truly perfect. It is stretchy, it does not create a ridge at the cast-on edge, and the ribbing seems to grow from literally nothing. But that cast-on has a big drawback. It is only perfect for knit 1 purl 1 ribbing. And though it is quite complicated to adjust it for wider ribs, it is fairly simple to make it work for knit 2 purl 2 ribbing. And in this tutorial, I'll show you how. The cast-on itself is exactly the same as the cast-on for the 1x1 ribbing we've already discussed. In the first step, we cast on the stitches, and we need to cast them on in multiples of 4 because we are getting ready for working in 2x2 ribbing, right? This is a long tail cast on, so leave a long tail. And then place the tail on your thumb and the working yarn on the index finger and hold both strands with the rest of your left fingers. Now take one of the needles and place it on top of the yarn over here and then twist it to create the first stitch. Then go under the yarn that comes from the index finger, pick the yarn that comes from the thumb, and move it from under the yarn that comes from the index finger, like this. This is our second stitch. Now you do the same thing, but in a mirror version. You go under the yarn that comes from the thumb, then pick the yarn that comes from the index finger, and move it from out the yarn that comes from the thumb. And we repeat. This way, one stitch, this way, another stitch. This way, one stitch, and this way, another stitch. And cast on until you get the number of stitches you need. I will cast on 12 stitches. Let's see how many I have so far. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now twist the strands because we don't want to lose the last stitch and turn your work. The first 2 rows are going to be setup rows, same way as we did for the 1x1 ribbing. First, knit a stitch through the back loop, like this. Then bring the yarn to the front and slip the purled stitch purlwise. And then repeat. Knit 1 stitch through the back loop, slip the stitch purlwise. If you look at the stitches, you would see that they already look like knits and purls a bit. So we are gonna work them same way. So we knit 1 stitch through the back loop, then slip 1 purlwise. And we'll do it to the end of the row, but we won't slip the last stitch. That's gonna be a purl stitch. We will purl it instead because we simply cannot slip the last stitch and leave the yarn at the front because we will lose that strand, right? There is nothing to anchor it. Now turn your work, and the second row would be pretty much the same, except that we're gonna knit the stitches, the knit stitches as we normally do through the front loop. So knit the first stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip the next one, knit, slip, knit, slip. I'm not getting into details in these 2 rows and the cast on because I've already explained it in the previous video. So I want to make it quick and move on to the part that this video is all about. And now I purl the last stitch, and that's the setup that we need to actually do the magic. And now we're gonna see we are all set up for working in 1x1 ribbing, but that's not exactly what we need. We need to work in 2x2 ribbing, and we're gonna, in this row, we're gonna rearrange stitches so that they are forming a 2x2 ribbing. Here's how we do it. Knit the first stitch. Then in 2x2 ribbing we would need to knit a stitch, but we definitely clearly see a purl here, and that's not good, right? So we're gonna twist these 2 stitches to rearrange them. Insert the tip of the right needle into these 2 stitches from left to right, as if you're gonna knit them together, like this. And then move the left needle out, leaving these stitches sitting on the right needle. Now insert the left needle into these 2 stitches from left to right and move the right needle out. So the stitches are back to the left needle, and we simply flipped them. That's what we did, and we twisted them while doing that. So that means that the next stitch, it definitely looks like a knit, but we're gonna knit it through the back loop because it is twisted already. And then we bring the yarn to the front and purl the next stitch through the back loop again. So we insert the tip of the right needle from over here into the stitch and then wrap it with the yarn and pull the wrap through to purl a stitch. And then we purl the next stitch as we would normally do. And that's it. That's how we turn the setup for 1x1 ribbing into a setup for 2x2 ribbing. Let's do it again. Knit 1 stitch, then insert the needle into these 2 stitches, slip them, then slip them back to the left needle, knit 1 through the back loop, bring the yarn to the front, purl 1 through the back loop, and purl 1 stitch normally. And one more time. Knit 1, slip, return, knit 1 through the back loop, purl 1 through the back loop, and purl the last stitch normally. And that's it. Now we are all set up for knitting, for working in 2x2 ribbing. As you clearly see, there are 2 knits, 2 purls, and so on. And as we knit, the cast on will look like this. So it's nice, stretchy, absolutely lovely, reversible, and set up for 2x2 ribbing as if right away. But we know we had to do this little trick to make it work. And that's how we use long tail tubular cast on to cast on stitches for knit 2 purl 2 ribbing. No matter what kind of project you are making, stay assured that the cast on is stretchy and looks great. To download this tutorial as a set of step-by-step photo instructions, follow the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video and have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Thursday.